For 4 years, the IRS and the Department of Revenue were demanding that she file her 1041 trust tax return because it was delinquent and you're going to have interest and penalties. And she had to pay her accountant 4 years in a row to tell them this number should never have been applied for in the first place.
Hi, this is Jeff Marsace, the Plain English Attorney, and I'm an author, certified Medicaid planner, and an attorney with more than 25 years of experience running my own firm. You're at the #1 place to learn about not only estate and Medicaid planning, but to get business, fitness, and general life success stories. I want to help estate planners and the general public get the tools and advice they need to stay safe, plan ahead, and enjoy life.
Hi, this is Jeff Marsace, the Plain English Attorney, and this is hopefully today a quick video. Does my trust need a taxpayer ID number? We get this all the time. We have printed materials that go into it for our clients so that they have all of that information, but let's just go over the basics. When we're setting up a revocable trust, it is a revocable grantor trust. That's kind of the tax classification. It means the same people are the trustors setting it up, they're the trustees managing the trust, and they're the first level beneficiaries. So with a revocable grantor trust, you do not need a taxpayer ID number because all the income and everything else just kind of flows through it and should just be going on your 1040s anyway. So you don't need that separate taxpayer ID number. So this often comes up when we're funding a revocable living trust. If it's a couple, then the next question is, well, okay, which social security number should we use? Keep it simple. If you've got an existing checking account and you're opening up a new checking account in the name of the trust to just move that money in, use the same social security number associated with the first account. So it's just staying the same. There shouldn't be a whole lot of confusion of, oh, well, which person's social security number, just kind of keep it the same. Well, what if this is a completely brand new account and you just happen to be setting it up after the trust is put together and it's being funded? Look, again, it doesn't really matter. If you use the social security number of the person who's going to be using that account the most, okay, that's fine. If it's going to be, well, okay, we're both equally going to be using it. All right, use the social security number of the primary taxpayer if you're filing jointly. Oh, well, what if it's neither? Look, the bank doesn't really care. The IRS and Department of Revenue doesn't really care. All they really care about is the correct person with that social security number is going to get the taxes reported to the government that, hey, this is the person responsible for it. And you get notified, hey, you're responsible for the taxes on whatever these gains are. So look, it doesn't really matter for a married couple which of the social security numbers you use. It just has to be one of you so that they can correctly report the taxes. Now, when do you need a separate taxpayer ID number? If one of the couple dies and there's actually now an irrevocable piece to that trust, and I don't want to get too deeply into it, it's for state tax planning purposes that sometimes a piece of that trust becomes irrevocable, can't be changed, and now suddenly because it's irrevocable, it kind of becomes its own taxpayer and it does need a taxpayer ID number at that point. But again, that's only upon death. And that's usually something that my clients are, the widow or widower, they're coming in and we're going over, here's what needs to be done if that piece is even necessary. All right, or if you're setting up an irrevocable trust to begin with because you want lawsuit protection or we want to preserve potential benefits by moving assets in and outwaiting the 5-year clock for something like Medicaid or other types of benefits, then that trust is going to end up needing a taxpayer ID number as soon as assets go into it. We've got other materials on irrevocable trust versus revocable and whatnot, and you can go through that. But the main point is, look, you don't need a taxpayer ID number for a revocable grantor trust. So let me just take a minute and talk about a story of a client of mine. She set up her individual revocable living trust, gave her the materials. Look, you do not need a separate taxpayer ID number. We counseled her, and she got the memorandum, and we mentioned it again during the funding meeting. You do not need a separate taxpayer ID number. But she went down to the bank. She had her homework list, and she was transferring the accounts. And, quote, "That nice young man at the bank said I needed a taxpayer ID number, so he went online and got one." For 4 years, the IRS and the Department of Revenue were demanding that she file her 1041 trust tax return because it was delinquent and you're going to have interest and penalties. And she had to pay her accountant 4 years in a row to tell them this number should never have been applied for in the first place. So because of that and other instances, that the materials that I provide my clients in the initial funding packet that says why you don't need a separate taxpayer ID number, that's up online for you to use at thebankiswrong.com. So please feel free to go there and download it. And as long as your trust is a revocable grantor trust, it does not need a separate taxpayer ID number. It should just be your Social Security number. Now, as always, look, if you've got very specific questions, talk to an attorney in your state or jurisdiction. This is not legal advice to you. But for my clients, at least, let us know if there's any questions on this, but we provided the material that's going to probably answer 99% of the questions on taxpayer ID numbers and revocable grantor trusts. Plus, now we've got this video. So please, as always, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. And if you've got any questions or you've got any stories about the taxpayer ID number being demanded, please go ahead and put that in the comments below. Now, I hope you found that information useful. So as always, please stay safe, plan ahead, and enjoy life, and make it a great day.
We hope you found that information useful and easy to understand. To keep getting this great information, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. To get even more information more quickly, follow the links below to some of our free, no obligation programs.